we love our guests here on the 13 Prime Community Rugby League show, and this is a show with a difference. So we're doing Bitesize. So we've reached the stage of the season where, to be honest, we've no season. We're post-season. We're into sort of the representative time of year, and I'm delighted to be joined on the other end of the line by none other than Jorge Cabral. How are you doing, George? You okay, mate?
Yeah, it's going well, mate. How about yourself?
Yeah, really good, really good. So I wanted to have a chat with you because you've got a really unusual task this coming weekend. You're representing and in fact captaining Brazil. Now, obviously, a lot of people have heard about Brazil from a football point of view, but what about from a rugby league point of view? You know, where's that come from?
Yeah, I mean it's relatively quite new. So rugby union is something that's just started taking off in Brazil in the last couple of years, and there was a massive gap, and quite a few Australians sort of live out Brazil way. So rugby league has started creeping in, and we went to the World Cup with the women's squad, the men's squad sort of getting there, but it's still facing the challenges sort of a developing country, and rugby league is always would face really.
So, is this one of the first internationals that the squad is going to be facing?
No, so we played a few games before. So we did the Americas tournament where we played a three-way tournament against Chile and Colombia. Chile were heavily quite the favourites going into that, but we beat them. And then we play a yearly, sort of like an annual thing against Argentina for the Copa Macosa, which they've done for the last couple of years. So we've sort of filtered in and out of games, but I think the main aim of sort of what we're trying to do going forwards is organise games within sort of Australia, Europe, and South America, and sort of as Brazilians, we're spread out quite diversely throughout the world. We're a pretty massive country, and we're really just trying to unlock that and trying to get people more on the rugby league sort of train.
Yeah, I was going to ask, where have you got your bulk of the players from? And are they, I was going to say true Brazilians, but that's probably doing it a disservice, isn't it? Because when you're representing your country, you're all true Brazilians.
Yeah, I mean, so the squad that we've got on Saturday, so very kindly, Alan has allowed us to sort of have a mixture of a squad. So, I mean, the financial implications of trying to get Brazilians over from Brazil, sort of some of our players are looking at 1.9k for flights, and our currency versus the British pound is very different. So that was a massive barrier. So we've got about sort of 5, 6 Brazilian players, true Brazilian players with sort of heritage, and then the bulk of the team will be made up of sort of university students that have sort of stuck up their hand just to help us out. But what we're really sort of hoping from this is to sort of springboard rugby league in the UK for Brazilians. From what we saw from the World Cup, especially from the women's point of view, we had such a massive sort of following because we're such a new team, sort of with very different. We have such a very different playing style, and sort of that's engaged a lot more people into rugby league. And I think that's what we're sort of aiming for this weekend is sort of just build on it. We talked to Alan about sort of future games, and it's something that we're hoping that we can sort of try and get like a full 13 out. But baby steps. We're getting there. We're just starting. Yeah.
And what about your rugby story? Where did that start, and where's it taking you?
Yeah, so I haven't actually been playing for rugby too long. Before I was actually playing badminton before I was playing rugby. So, so I've probably been playing about 6 years. And again, started off in rugby union. Wasn't really a huge fan of it. Just it didn't really suit how I play. And very luckily, sort of Oxford Rugby League had a team sort of setting up down there when they were in the League One, and very luckily sort of got involved with them. Just filtered in and out of rugby league, sort of as I could, because originally I'm from down south, so I just lived just outside of Oxford. So rugby league's not a huge thing down there, and sort of getting involved with that, and I made the decision to come up north and sort of live in Manchester, and sort of got involved with the student sort of setup, and sort of it's gone from there, and it's been really positive, and I'm just gaining sort of learning rugby league, getting used to it, playing it in and out, sort of season on season, and absolutely loving every second of it.
I love the fact that you've been caught by the rugby league bug. That's how it always catches us, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's one of those things where rugby league just, as a nation, sort of Brazilians, we're known for our flair. We're sort of known for like our passion about sport, and I think rugby league could be absolutely massive if, as a country, we get that behind it. But it's relatively still unheard of. If you were to go to some parts of Brazil, I'm sure they've not even heard of rugby, and that's sort of the barrier that we face, or Yeah, it's tough because we're spread out so far away, and being in South America, it's not the case like some of these European teams that can just hop on sort of like a £30 Ryanair
Mm.
flight to go play a game, and you've got a full squad that can stick the hand off. Like we've got 20 players in Australia, we've got about 6, 7, 8 players based in Europe, and then the majority of our squad are based in South America. So we do have the players to get across, but again, it's that travel and that funding, and they're just trying to get everyone there at the right time. So it's difficult.
It also sounds pretty exciting though, with everything that's sort of gone on, and I suppose being involved right at the start of something is quite unique, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massively unique, and we are sort of even going forward with sort of the England stuff, some of the stuff that we've put on our social media. So I've had messages of people that live in Liverpool, all over the north, that are just like, we've wanted to come watch Brazil play like a rugby match, but we've never had the opportunity to, and they're just like, we can't wait to come and watch you guys. And I know it's not sort of we're going to have a true squad of full Brazilians, but I think we're playing for and what we're starting for, very much is sort of heading in a really exciting direction, and it's something that I'm happy that I'm part of. And we've got really great people in the UK sort of supporting us that aren't necessarily sort of Brazilian, but they're heavily ingrained into rugby league, and they're really sort of helping us drive this. And I'm quite excited for the future, to be honest.
I've got to say as well, George, that your last 12 months has been one of real interest, hasn't it? You've gone from representing Northwest universities to having a stint travelling up and down the motorway to Whitehaven, and then getting the chance to represent Brazil.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a bit of a blur, to be honest, and it's gone from one thing to another, and and I'm excited to see sort of where rugby league's going to take me, and I just want to try and get as much of it as I can. And if it gets to a stage where I get everything I can out of it, I've got Brazil to sort of support, and I can always sort of take that step back and just sort of support them and get everything organised and really just try and drive it. I think that's what it needs. It needs people at the helm to sort of really push it and really take it forward and just really be passionate about it all the way through. We can't really half-ass it. It's something that we have to strive for, and we've got a great opportunity, and I'm hoping we take it.
That passion comes through as well. I can tell from hearing it in your voice.
Yeah, I mean, if you speak to some of the players based out in Brazil, I was very lucky to go to Argentina to play in that cup that we talked about, and we played in Buenos Aires, and the passion that they had for playing that sport was, it was amazing to be part of, to be honest, and I loved every single second of it. And I have so much love for the people I played for in that game, and it's just small little things, just like we don't have access to the coaching in Brazil, so a lot of it was just very simple stuff, you probably get taught as a kid, that we're just lacking. And I think if we can sort of infect everyone with that passion and drive it and try and get things set up a little bit more within sort of domestic, and then I think internationally, I think it should hopefully translate. But I think in terms of the rankings, I don't think we're doing too bad either. We've had some decent wins against teams that have been ranked higher than us, and that's obviously propelled us a bit.
And I've got to say as well that I don't think there's a more active international side than Brazil over this next sort of 2 or 3 month period. You've got this game against England under-19s in St Helens, then over to Argentina at the start of December to play a game in Buenos Aires, then over to Brisbane to play against El Salvador in February, and then all the way back to Sao Paulo for Brazil Invitational All Stars on the 24th of Feb. That's a decent fixture list, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of air miles, but but yeah, I mean, especially with the Australia game, that's something I'm going out and being part of. El Salvador is the last team that we have yet to play in South America. It's also the last team that we have yet to beat. If we beat them, it's a clean sweep of South America, and we go undefeated against any of the other countries there, which is quite sort of an accolade to have. That's something that we are striving for and that we want. We've got a great squad based on Australia that sort of have had that rugby league knowledge, and something that we're trying to harness and sort of get involved with. So it's great.
Yeah, I mean we've seen, like over in Australia, haven't we, when they've had their the internationals that they've hosted, that there's a huge interest as well, isn't there, amongst sort of expat populations.
Yeah, and I mean, especially sort of if you look at migration from Brazil, like the amount of Brazilians based within sort of internationally outside of Brazil is ridiculous. And they must be playing rugby league, but we have yet to find them. And there's been great accounts. Like there's a account is Who Can He Play For or something, who's based on sort of Facebook and Twitter, and sort of they go through every single of the leagues and they find players of that nationality, and they've been really, really helpful with us because they've sort of found players based in Australia that we had no idea who they were, but they're playing at a really good level, NRL sort of age grade stuff. So it's getting exciting, and we've got some great people again sort of helping us towards this. So
I was going to ask a little bit about that, about how you go about, hunting the world for players that are eligible and are interested.
Yeah, I mean, especially now at the moment, a lot of it's been sort of word of mouth. A lot of it through social media. We've been sort of quite active on social media with trying to find people. Even sort of on our account, just sort of messaging people just to see if they have Brazilian heritage. And it's something that we haven't really been afraid to do because we could probably send 100 messages and we'll find one person that sort of qualifies. But having that one person that does qualify is immensely valuable, especially if they've got rugby league experience.
And what about your own qualification? What's your Brazilian roots in your family?
Yeah, so basically my mum's English, and she went on a gap year to the Amazon. Accidentally got pregnant with me.
Right, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and then I ended up spending sort of most of my sort of baby life and sort of child life in the Amazon, and then ended up coming back here when I was sort of about 6, 7. So it was a bit of a difference, bit of a culture shock. I was just used to running around, sort of in barely anything, playing in the trees and stuff, to then come in here, which is cold.
I like how that's the first thing that you would have noticed. But I mean that's a fascinating upbringing as well, and the fact that you've really worked hard to get what you've got. You're a physio by trade, aren't you, as well?
Yeah, so sort of English wasn't my first language, and it's something I really, really struggled with when I was a kid. And sort of when I was growing up and sort of doing my GCSEs, my teacher sort of said university wasn't really a thing for me because I probably would struggle. I just took a couple of years out and sort of went back to it, and very gracefully got into uni and sort of, haven't looked back, to be honest. It's been
Did
good.
did that kind of fire you up? Somebody said to you once upon a time, "Oh, we don't think like university's the route for you." Because I mean, this sounds a little bit similar to sort of me and the old journalism. Someone once said to me, "Oh, we don't think you've got the character, Dave, to be able to do this and to go and ask questions and that type of stuff." And I just like to almost look back at that person and just say, "Well, look at what I did."
Yeah, 100%, and it's something that you should obviously celebrate your own achievements, and having that sort of fire when someone tells you that you can't do something, especially when it's something you're passionate about. I think it's such a great driving force, and especially with sort of even rugby league now, like especially the Brazil stuff. When I say that I play, like, oh yeah, I'm playing for Brazil rugby league, people sort of just like look at you like you've just said something absolutely mental, and they're like, oh, Brazil got a rugby league team, and they sort of like think you're joking, and I'm like, nah, like I'm not joking. I'm like, this is what we're playing for, and this is what we're trying to do, and I think people are sort of starting to recognise that, and especially sort of within my rugby circle here, like people know about Brazil, and it's something that I'm just pushing constantly. I mention it to every single person I can tell, really.
Well, we'll certainly find out about it on Saturday, won't we? I mean, it's a 2 o'clock kickoff over at Ruskin Drive in St Helens. Great setup for it. How's the sort of build up to the game gone so far?
Yeah, it's been great. Sort of organising the team. Again, just the logistics of trying to get people over and trying to get everything confirmed. And I've not really been off my phone for the past week, to be honest with you. Just
Sorry for
chasing.
adding to that, by the way.
No, it's fine. I'm happy. But we've got the team sorted now. Big thing has just been organising sort of all the extra equipment we need on the day. Like Alan with sort of the community lines has been absolutely great with sort of assisting us. They've given us so much, and we're really, really grateful towards them because they've set up such a great day for us, and we can't wait to sort of come play, show what we can do. and yeah, can't wait really.
It's also a really interesting one from a Lions point of view because you'll be up against like an under 18/19 side, and a lot of these guys they've not played open age rugby yet.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, sort of when we've been chatting to people about it and sort of coming over and playing, it's always been a bit of a hesitation. But that's where sort of the players that are filling in for us, they've been sort of the youngest we can find from university. A few of them haven't really played rugby league before, so we've tried to sort of balance that out. So we haven't put like a stacked team against them. But what we're just trying to get out this weekend is really sort of show that Brazil Rugby League, they're here, they're in Europe, they want to play against teams, just try and springboard it and find more players and try and field a 13-a-side team. I know sort of I'm very sort of open about the challenges we face as sort of a country, and I think going forward, like we'd love to organise more games. We'd love to get some more international fixtures. We'd like to try and pack out our team with as many people as possible. And I think obviously with this fixture, it's unknown. It's a bit of a bogey fixture. It's the first one in Europe, and I think trying to organise it has been difficult. But I'm hoping that they can see from this, we're trying to be professional as possible, going about it on the day and in the build up to it, and I'm hoping people can see that.
Definitely, George. So I'm really looking forward to the game myself. I can tell that you're looking forward to it. I look forward to having a chat with you afterwards. But thank you very much for spending this time describing what's going on with the Brazil national team. Fantastic to find out about it. And if it's even got half of your drive, it's going to be a massive success moving forward.
Yeah, and obviously appreciate having this time to talk to you. It's something I'm really passionate about, and if anyone ever wants to talk about Brazil Rugby League, I'm always here. You can always find me on Facebook or something like that, and I'm happy having a chat about it. But yeah, I mean, just from our side, like we're so excited for this, and obviously again, just very grateful for everyone over the community lines for helping us set this up. And I know it's going to be a great match to watch, and I'm hoping sort of we get a good crowd down. And yeah, just really can't wait and to show people what we're about and that we're here.